I am from Onondaga County.
I am from Erie County.
I am from Oneida County.
I'm from Monroe County.
I'm from Kings County.
I am from Oneida County.
I'm from Broome County.
I'm from Saratoga County.
Broome is, I don't really know much about my county actually. That's a great question.
Erie County is really cool. There's buffaloes in Erie County, and it's a really great city for. There's a lot of culture. There's art. There's a lot of food. There's music. It's just a really cool place to be from.
So Monroe County is pretty big. It's right on the edge of Lake Ontario, and so it's cold and snowy. There's not much to it except for Rochester, which is the city that I'm actually from, and a lot of farmland besides that on the outsides of the city.
It's here. It's where Lemoyne is.
Well, it's a pretty rural community. There's only two main cities really. There's the Utica-Rome area. Everything else besides that is just farmland, woods, etc.
My county is very diverse. There's a lot of people, New York City is like the melting pot, and Brooklyn is basically like one of the biggest places where you have like the most diverse amount of people. I live in a very like Caribbean neighborhood, but there's tons of people who are, white, Asian, Hispanic, people from Europe, Russian, things like that. So there's tons of people all over.
It's got Utica in it, which is actually where I'm from, and it's mostly farms besides Utica.
I go home probably 2 or 3 times a semester. I go home for all the breaks, and then I'll go home usually like once or twice for just weekends. Like if there's something going on, I'll go home for that.
I don't go home very often because my schedule here is busy, so I'm always like working hard and studying. So I don't go home very often, but whenever I do, I usually just go home whenever we have breaks at school, and that's it.
I go home about once a week.
I'm a commuter.
Once every couple weeks, like every 2 or 3 weeks, usually. Sometimes longer, depending if depending on weather or depending on like schoolwork.
Like once a month or something.
Just about every day I'm a commuter.
My drive home from Lemoyne is about 2.5 hours, depending on weather and traffic. But it's pretty much all on the thruway. It's a pretty easy ride home.
It's about 3 or 4 minutes if I hit all the lights just right.
It takes me about an hour and a half to get home from Lemoyne.
It's only like 45 minutes.
In the northern part of the county, so it's about an hour and 20 minutes.
The drive is 4.5 to 5 hours, depending on traffic. So it's pretty far, but you get used to it.
Hour and a half at the most. It's not too bad.
It is approximately 167 miles, so it takes me about 2.5 hours.
My friend group is mostly from other counties. Like most of my friends are up from like Canada, Potsdam area, and then I have some friends that are actually from different states, like Vermont and Massachusetts.
I think most people that I know are from like this county or just outside of Onondaga County.
So a couple people from my friend group are from Erie County. A bunch of people from my friend group are from like Onondaga or like near Cortland. And then there's a couple people from up by like Watertown, and then there's a couple people from like the Rome area. So it's mostly like upstate, but I do know a lot of people from like the city.
Yeah, I have a couple friends from Brooklyn and other friends from the city, so like I know what counties they're from and stuff like that. So yeah, I know a couple people.
A lot of people come from the private schools in Rochester because there's a handful of private religious affiliated schools. I don't know anyone from my hometown, but I'm sure there's a lot of people from Monroe County. I don't know how many.
Well, a lot of people from Syracuse come to this school, so I assume that they're from, the surrounding county, so I think that there'd be more of them than there would be people from Brooklyn. So, yeah.
I know like 4 people. It's really because like they're from my high school, to be honest. But yeah, I don't really know of anyone who's like from my county that like didn't go to my high school that might go here. Like I'm sure there's plenty of those cases, but yeah, I know about 4 people I know for sure from my county go to Lemoyne.
I think I probably know more students from Onondaga County at this college than I do from Monroe County, just because a lot of people commute and come from the local area.
I originally looked at Lemoyne because I was looking at colleges that had a 5-year accounting program, and I wanted a school with a big business school, or not really a big business school, but a recognized business school. So I ended up at Lemoyne.
Let's see, how did I choose Lemoyne? I'm not gonna say Lemoyne chose me, but like they like it was a good like scholarship or just like financial aid, like the money consideration was there, and it wasn't too far away. That was definitely a consideration, and it was a small school. Like I came from like a kind of like a small country high school, so it was like I was kind of used to like a small population. I wasn't sure how I would feel as like the quote like little fish in a big pond versus big fish in a little pond. That's always like the analogies that people give you when you're looking at colleges. So I guess I liked the idea that it was small and it was close. It was reasonable. I already knew some people were going here, and I don't know. I like Syracuse. Like I've been here like previously before I came to Lemoyne, so I was like, yeah, I could get to know like a new city and stuff. So I guess it was just like a congregation of factors, really. It wasn't like one thing that was like, you're going to Lemoyne. It was like, yeah, like this is good, like cool, like check, So.
So it's actually a funny story how I ended up applying to Lemoyne. We got a postcard in the mail, as everybody did, that said, free barbecue for Lemoyne College on July 13th, which is my birthday. And my mom thought that would be a great birthday present. Let's go on a college visit. I was like, Mom, I'm never going to go to Lemoyne College. I don't want to go to a Jesuit school. This is dumb, but I'll go get a free burger, sure. So we come here, and I fell in love with the place, and it's all because of a free burger on my birthday.
I put it on my list of schools because it was close by, and I originally wasn't going to go to college, or I was going to take a year off anyway, and I sort of had a last-second panic decision on like the last possible day to commit to a school. So here I am.
Yeah, I mean, I am all for diversity and like having people from other countries come here because, studying abroad like changed my representation in my head about interacting with other people from other countries and stuff, and I think that it changed me like to study abroad and interact with so many different types of people. So like I think everyone at Lemoyne would also benefit the same if they had that. So I think like a specific change, if you want that, like would be like the global education department or like the study abroad coordination to really increase the number of programs and exchanges that go between Lemoyne and other affiliations. When I studied abroad, I had to like apply to Lemoyne for them to approve me to apply for like the study abroad experience, and it was just kind of like another hurdle to jump through. When I think that if they approve a lot more like exchange programs, we would see a greater diversity, like a greater population of international students here, and I think that'd be really helpful.
I don't think there's a huge very geographical makeup or anything. I think the school's almost too isolated. It's almost too much of this impenetrable bubble that there's not a whole lot that goes in or out, and you just sort of all the same people. It's such a small place that it almost gets claustrophobic at times.
So students from out of the country, I actually just met a new friend in one of my history classes, and he's from Scotland. So I think it would be really cool if Lemoyne kind of advertised or made contact with more foreign exchange students that weren't athletes, because I know there's a lot of international athletes, and I think that kind of narrows a lot of students relationships with international students, because most the athletes kind of stick together. So I think it would be really cool if somehow Lemoyne could kind of make contact with more international students that just were normal students and not necessarily athletes. So.
You meet people from different places every day. I mean, you can just say hi to somebody and they can be from California. Given a lot of people are from New York State, maybe make a couple more programs available for students through the Jesuit network that's established, the Association of Jesuit Colleges and Universities. Utilize that a little more, maybe.
Well, for one thing, the pod that I live in my building is all people from different countries and different parts of America itself. So I feel that's super diverse. Everywhere I look, there's people that I don't know, that are from other countries or from different counties and whatnot.
I feel like most people from Lemoyne are from America or Syracuse or upstate New York, period. There's not that many. There's more people from New York City. In the years that I've been here, we've got more New York City students, but students from other places in America and let alone the world, it's the as the further you go from like upstate, the less it becomes like in terms of diversity and students from other places. I guess try to reach out to schools in other states first before you talk about other countries, because I feel like, you know, if you want to get to people from other countries, you have to start small first before you talk about going overseas. You know, try and like email schools or even visit schools that, like, you know, are from other states. Like, you know, have like a representative go to like a high school in, like, let's say like Pennsylvania or like, you know, Maine or someplace like that, whereas like, you know, people from New York don't really go, or just like a school that's just like a high school that's just out of the way. And even like a college fair or something like that, like in a different state, just say the kids know, like, oh, like, you know, we're in upstate New York, but we're looking for kids from other places as well. So like that way, you know, there'll be, you know, more and more diversity as years go on, even if it's just from different, like, you know, nearby northeastern states and stuff like that.
I wouldn't really change Lemoyne's geographical diversity. A lot of people that I do know from out of state or from like far away from like freshman year didn't like the weather and the climate of Syracuse, so they ended up transferring anyways. So I feel like it's something that you kind of have to be used to in order to come here anyways, or else you're not going to have as good of an experience.
Yeah, so I don't really think there's a diverse geographical representation at Lemoyne, at least among the students. I think a lot of people are local, mostly just because New York is cheaper to live in-state and go to a college. Significant difference between being in-state or from out-of-state. I think if they wanted to improve that, we would just have to work on our reputation. So when I go places for the Army, I always say, oh, I'm from Syracuse, and they know Syracuse University, but they don't necessarily know Lemoyne College. So if we wanted to expand, we would just have to work on somehow getting our name out there nationally.